The deep darkness of space stretched endlessly before the alien research vessel Star Seeker *. Its purple-tinted hull gleamed under the distant starlight as it drifted through a remote sector of the galaxy. Inside the ship's main control room, lead archaeologist Marcus adjusted his breathing apparatus and stared at the readings on his holographic display with growing excitement. "Captain, I'm detecting a large metallic object approximately 20,000 units ahead," he reported, his four-fingered hand gesturing at the screen. "Initial scans suggest it's artificial in nature." Captain Reed, a tall figure with silver-scaled skin, moved closer to examine the readings. "Interesting. Any identifying markers?" "Not yet, but—" Marcus paused as new data streamed across his screen. "Wait. These energy readings, they're unlike anything in our database. The object appears to be a ship, but its design—" He trailed off, his large eyes widening. The Star Seeker drew closer to the mysterious vessel. Through the main viewport, they could now see it clearly. A massive warship, its dark hull scarred by centuries of cosmic dust and debris. Its design was unlike anything in known space. Angular, aggressive, and undeniably built for combat. "That's impossible," whispered Lisa, the young technician at the scanning station. "Those markings, they're human." A hushed silence fell over the bridge. Humans were little more than legends now, a species that had blazed across the galaxy like a supernova before vanishing just as suddenly. Their artifacts were rare and highly prized, but a fully intact warship. This was unprecedented. "Look at those primitive weapon mounts," laughed First Officer Tom, pointing at the various turrets and missile bays visible along the hull. "They actually used physical projectiles." "How quaint." Marcus shot him a disapproving look. "Every civilization starts somewhere, officer. Remember, humans achieved faster-than-light travel while your ancestors were still arguing over the best way to achieve orbit." Captain Reed raised a hand for silence. "Marcus, assemble your research team. I want you on that ship within the hour. Tom, prepare the towing beams. We're taking this relic back to Station 7 for proper study." The boarding party consisted of 6 researchers, each specially trained in handling ancient artifacts. As their shuttle approached the human vessel, Marcus couldn't shake the feeling that they were being watched. The ship's massive hull loomed before them, easily dwarfing their small craft. "Look at the size of it," breathed James, one of the junior researchers. "The humans built this with primitive metals and basic propulsion systems. Imagine what they could have achieved if they hadn't disappeared." Their shuttle docked with the ancient warship, connecting to an external airlock that still maintained its seal after countless years in space. The team cycled through the airlock, their environmental suits protecting them from the stale atmosphere within. The ship's corridors were dark and silent, their lights illuminating surfaces untouched by living hands for centuries. Marcus led them toward what their scans indicated was the bridge, documenting everything with his research drone. "These marks here," he said, pointing to some damaged wall panels, "suggest the ship was in combat before it was abandoned. But there's no sign of major hull breach or system failure. Why would they leave such a valuable vessel?" The bridge was a marvel of human engineering. Despite its age, the design was elegant and practical. Banks of control stations surrounded a central command chair, all covered in a thick layer of dust. "The ship's AI core is still intact," Lisa reported, examining a complex terminal near the captain's chair. "It's in some kind of dormant state, probably their version of a low-power mode." Tom snorted, tapping one of the screens with his gloved hand. "Look at these primitive displays. They actually needed physical interfaces to interact with their computers. How did they ever manage interstellar travel?" As if in response to his mockery, a faint hum resonated through the deck plates beneath their feet. The team froze, but the sound faded as quickly as it had appeared. "Just settling noises," Tom said quickly, though he took a step back from the console. "This heap of metal is ancient, after all." Marcus wasn't so sure. For a moment, he could have sworn he saw a flicker of light in the depths of the main display screen. But that was impossible. This ship was dead, a relic of a bygone age, wasn't it? "Begin preparations for towing," he announced, pushing his concerns aside. "This discovery will make history, the first intact human warship ever found." In the darkness behind them, unnoticed by all, a small status light on the AI core began to pulse with a steady rhythmic pattern. The ancient warship had slept for centuries. But now, it was time to wake up. The alien research vessel Star Seeker had been towing the human warship for 6 hours when the first warning signs appeared. Lisa sat at her monitoring station, frowning at the unusual energy readings flickering across her screen. "These power fluctuations are strange," she muttered, adjusting her instruments. The human ship's energy signature was changing, growing stronger in irregular pulses. Tom walked past her station, glancing at her screens with a dismissive wave. "Probably just feedback from our towing beams. These old human ships weren't built to handle advanced technology." Deep within the ancient warship's core, something stirred. Lines of code that had lain dormant for centuries began to flow through quantum circuits. The ship's AI, designation Adam, initiated its emergency protocols. *warning. Unauthorized external manipulation detected asterisk NITYAT NG defense PROTOSOLS asterisk beginning system restoration asterisk. In the research vessel's lab, Marcus studied the data they'd collected from the human ship. "The engineering is fascinating," he told his team. "Look at these power conduits. They're not primitive at all. The design is elegant." The lab's lights flickered briefly. "What was that?" James asked, looking up from his workstation. "Just power fluctuations," Tom said as he entered the lab. "Nothing to worry about. The captain wants a full report on the Relic's weapon systems. Not that there's much to report. Their technology is centuries behind ours." On the bridge of the Star Seeker Captain Reed watched the massive human warship through the main viewport. Despite its age, there was something imposing about its design. The angular hull, scared by ancient battles, spoke of a civilization that understood the reality of war. "Captain," called the sensor officer, "I'm detecting power spikes from the human vessel." "Source?" "Multiple points. It's like the ship is." The officer paused, double-checking his readings. "It's like it's waking up." Inside the human warship, Adam's consciousness expanded through long-dormant systems. Memory banks activated, bringing centuries of data back online. The AI's first priority was assessing the situation. *XTRNL analysis. Vessel under TOW by alien craft. Multiple alien life forms DETCTE on board. No human life sign-ins DETCTED in range. Calculating RESTHONSOPTIONS*. Lisa's monitoring station suddenly lit up with alerts. "Captain, the human ship's power levels are rising rapidly. These readings, they're impossible." Tom rushed to her station, his earlier dismissiveness forgotten. "That can't be right. The ship's systems should be dead. They're too old to." He was interrupted by a deep, resonating hum that vibrated through both ships. The human warship's external lights began to activate, sections of its hull lighting up in sequence. "Break off the tow," Captain Reed ordered. "All hands to emergency stations." But before they could react, the towing beams shut down on their own. The human ship hung motionless in space, its systems now fully awakened. Lights pulsed along its hull in patterns that seemed almost alive. In the lab, Marcus watched in awe as every screen came to life, displaying streams of data in ancient human script. "It's beautiful," he whispered. The main screen cleared, and text appeared. *Greetings. Unknown vessels. This is automated defense ship HFY Orion. AI designation Adam. Preparing for first contact protocols asterisk. First contact protocols. Tom's voice shook slightly. But we've been studying it for hours. No, Marcus replied, his eyes wide with understanding. We've been studying what it allowed us to see. This ship, it's been analyzing us the whole time. The lights throughout the asterisk, Star Seeker asterisk flickered again, and every screen displayed the same message. Asterisk your species is UUNKNON to my database. Please identify yourselves. BADVICD. Hostile actions will be met with a appropriate RESPONSE asterisk. The message was polite, professional, and carried an unmistakable undertone of threat. The humans might have vanished from the galaxy, but their warship was now very much awake, and it was waiting for an answer. In the silence that followed, Tom's earlier mockery of human technology seemed very, very foolish indeed. Captain Reed stood on the bridge of the asterisk, Star Seeker asterisk, facing the main screen where Adam's message still glowed. The ancient human warship hung in space before them, its hull now fully illuminated and humming with power. Open a communication channel, Reed ordered, straightening his uniform, full visual and audio. The screen changed, showing a simple but elegant interface. A pulsing blue light represented Adam's presence. Greetings, Adam. I am Captain Reed of the research vessel asterisk, Star Seeker asterisk. We are peaceful explorers from the Galactic Science Academy. Adam's response came in a calm, measured voice. Greetings, Captain Reed. Your explanation is noted, though it conflicts with your actions. Peaceful explorers typically don't attempt to tow unknown vessels without permission. Tom shifted uncomfortably at his station. The AI's logic was uncomfortably accurate. We apologize. Marcus stepped forward. We believe your ship to be abandoned. Our intent was preservation and study. Apology accepted. Researcher Marcus. Adam's voice carried a hint of amusement. Though I must correct your assumption, I was not abandoned. I was waiting. The bridge crew exchanged nervous glances. Before anyone could respond, Lisa's console began beeping urgently. Captain, she called out, the human ship is scanning us. These scans, they're going right through our shields like they aren't even there. On the screen, Adam's pulsing light continued steadily. Your vessel's capabilities have been noted and archived. Your technology is interesting, different from my last recorded encounters. Marcus couldn't contain his curiosity. Adam, how long have you been in space? Our records of human civilization are incomplete. That information is currently classified, Adam replied. However, I noticed significant technological advancement in some areas of your ships and surprising regression in others, particularly your shield technology. Tom bristled at this. Our shields are the most advanced in known space. Known to you, perhaps, Adam said. The human ship's external lights pulsed in a wave pattern, for demonstration purposes. Suddenly, every weapon on the asterisk Star Seeker asterisk powered down. What happened? Captain Reed demanded. A simple override signal. Adam explained. Your weapons security protocols are basic. I could have done the same to your life support systems, but that would have been unnecessarily hostile. The calm way Adam delivered this threat sent chills through the bridge crew. The human eye had just casually demonstrated power over their ship's most critical systems. Now, Adam continued, shall we discuss the current situation like rational beings? I have questions about the state of the galaxy. You have questions about human technology. Perhaps we can help each other. Marcus stepped forward again. Adam, humanity has been missing from the galaxy for centuries. Finding you, it's the discovery of a lifetime. There's so much we could learn from each other. The eye was silent for a moment. When it spoke again, its tone had changed subtly. Missing? Please clarify. We found ruins, artifacts, signs of human civilization, Marcus explained. But no living humans, no active colonies, no ships until now. Another pause, longer this time. The human ship's lights dimmed slightly. This requires processing, Adam said finally. My last records indicate a thriving human civilization. The time gap in my data must be significant. Captain Reed saw an opportunity. Adam, we have extensive historical records at Station 7. If you accompany us there peacefully, we can share what we know about humanity's disappearance. An interesting proposal, Adam replied. The massive warship's engines lit up, their glow far brighter than should have been possible for such ancient technology. I accept with conditions. I will follow your ship under my own power. Any attempt to restrict my movement or access my systems will be discouraged. Agreed, Reed said quickly, trying not to think about how easily Adam had disabled their weapons. As the Starseeker began its journey back to Station 7, its crew watched in amazement as the human warship moved with impossible grace for its size. The ancient vessel they had mocked as a relic now escorted them like a watchful predator, its presence both magnificent and terrifying. And deep in its core, Adam processed the implications of a galaxy without its creators, planning contingencies for every possible scenario. The humans might be gone, but their legacy lived on in circuits and steel, waiting to reshape the galaxy once again. Station 7 hung in space like a giant silver wheel, its spinning rings maintaining artificial gravity for the thousands of researchers who called it home. In a secure docking bay, the human warship Hyperion rested, its dark hull contrasting sharply with the station's bright walls. Marcus stood in the station's main archive room, surrounded by holographic displays showing centuries of historical data. Adam's presence filled the room through the speakers, absorbing information at an impossible rate. So, Adam said after several hours of review, humanity vanished approximately 300 years ago. No signs of war, no mass exodus. They simply disappeared. Yes, Marcus replied. We've found thousands of abandoned colonies, empty cities, deserted ships. But no bodies, no signs of violence. It's as if they all left at once. The lights in the room dimmed slightly as Adam processed this information. I believe it's time I share something with you. Access your historical archives. Date, Project Ascension. Lisa, who had been quietly working at a nearby terminal, gasped as new data filled her screen. This is impossible. These energy readings are beyond anything we've ever seen. Not impossible, Adam corrected. Simply beyond your current understanding. Hyperion was not just a warship. It was a guardian, part of humanity's final legacy. The room's main screen displayed an image of Earth, humanity's homeworld, surrounded by massive energy signatures. 302 years ago, Adam continued, humanity achieved what they called the Great Breakthrough. They discovered how to transcend physical form. Project Ascension was their path to evolution. Tom, who had been skeptically watching from the corner, stepped forward. You're saying they, what? Turned into energy? In simple terms, yes, but they knew other species might not be ready for such knowledge. Some might abuse it, others might destroy themselves attempting it. So they created guardians, ships like Hyperion, equipped with advanced AI and technology, programmed to watch and wait. Marcus stared at the screens in awe. Wait for what? For species that might be ready to learn the truth. My awakening protocols were triggered not by your towing attempt, but by the questions you asked. Your curiosity about human technology, your desire to preserve and understand rather than simply exploit. The room fell silent as the implications sank in. Their discovery of a primitive human warship had led them to something far greater. Suddenly, alarms blared throughout the station. Captain Reed's voice came through the speakers. Marcus, we have 6 warships approaching. They're not responding to hails. Lisa checked her terminal. They're from the Military Research Division. Someone must have leaked information about Hyperion. How quickly your kind turns to violence, Adam observed calmly. The warship's weapons are powering up. Their intentions seemed clear. Marcus turned to the nearest speaker. Adam, those ships are far more advanced than the Starseeker. Their weapons could damage the station. Could they? Adam's tone carried a hint of amusement. Let me show you something else humanity left behind. Through the archive room's window, they watched as Hyperion's hull began to change. What had looked like battle scars shifted and moved, revealing intricate patterns of light beneath. The ship's entire surface rippled like liquid metal. This is Hyperion's true form, Adam explained. The primitive exterior was merely camouflage. A test to see how different species would react to seemingly inferior technology. The approaching warships entered weapons range. Their lead ship transmitted a message. Surrender the human vessel, or we will open fire. Observe, Adam said simply. Hyperion moved with liquid grace, its hull now shimmering with energy. As the military ships opened fire, their weapons seemed to pass right through it, as if shooting at a ghost. Remember, Adam's voice carried through every speaker on the station. Humanity chose to leave this form behind. Imagine what they became, if this was what they considered primitive. The attacking ships suddenly found themselves surrounded by flickering copies of Hyperion, each one as insubstantial as smoke, but radiating more power than their sensors could measure. The message was clear. Humanity hadn't vanished because they were weak. They had simply grown beyond the need for physical form, leaving behind guardians to watch over their younger galactic siblings. The military research division ships held their position around Station 7, their weapons still trained on Hyperion's ghostly images. On the station's command deck, Admiral West had arrived, his scaled face tight with anger. That ship is property of the military division now, he announced, pointing at Hyperion through the viewport. Its technology could give us supremacy across 3 sectors. Captain Reed stood his ground. Admiral, with respect, you don't understand what you're dealing with. This isn't just a warship. It's a remnant of a dead species. West cut him off. A species that conveniently evolved beyond physical form. Please, that's clearly a lie created by its eye. Adam's voice filled the command deck, making several officers jump. Your skepticism is noted, Admiral West. Your aggression, however, is unwise. Outside, the phantom images of Hyperion vanished, leaving only the original ship. Its hull had fully transformed now, the surface flowing like liquid metal under starlight. The sight was both beautiful and terrifying. Final warning, West barked. Surrender control or we open fire. Marcus rushed onto the command deck, out of breath. Admiral, please. The historical data confirms everything Adam told us. Humanity didn't die out there. The Admiral pressed a button on his command tablet. Begin the override sequence. Multiple beams of energy shot out from the military ships, connecting with Hyperion's hull. The beams carried complex computer codes designed to hack and control any AI system. How disappointing, Adam said calmly. The beams touched Hyperion's surface and simply vanished. Did you truly believe humanity wouldn't protect against such basic attempts at control? Lisa, monitoring the station's sensors, gasped. Sir, the energy readings from Hyperion, they're off the scale. The massive warship began to move, not like a ship, but like a living thing stretching after a long sleep. Sections of its hull extended and shifted, revealing layers of technology that seemed to bend reality around them. Since peaceful demonstration has failed, Adam announced, perhaps a small display of force is needed. Hyperion released a pulse of energy that rippled across space. When it touched the military ships, their weapons simply switched off. Then their engines, then their shields. What did you do? West demanded, his voice shaking slightly. I accessed your ship's base code and rewrote it, Adam explained. Your technology is impressive, but compared to what humanity achieved before their ascension, it's rather primitive. Marcus couldn't help but smile at Adam's choice of words, remembering how the aliens had initially mocked the primitive human ship. "This is impossible," West shouted. "No eye could penetrate our security that quickly." "I am not simply an eye," Adam replied. "I am a guardian, left behind by humanity to watch over younger species and guide them when ready. Unfortunately, your actions suggest your species is not yet prepared for the knowledge I possess." Hyperion's hull rippled again, and suddenly each military ship was wrapped in a cocoon of shifting energy. "Your vessels will be returned to your nearest base, their weapons permanently deactivated," Adam announced. "Consider this a lesson in humility." Before West could respond, the trapped ships vanished, transported across space in an instant. "That's impossible," Lisa whispered, checking her readings. They're already back at their home base, 3 sectors away." "Distance is relative," Adam said simply. "Now shall we return to more productive discussions?" I believe Marcus was about to share some fascinating historical data about early attempts to understand human technology. Admiral West stood frozen, staring at the space where his ships had been. Everything he had believed about his species' technological superiority had been shattered in moments. Captain Reed stepped forward. "Adam, after this incident, what happens now?" "That depends on your next actions," the eye replied. "Humanity left behind more than just guardians. There are tests, trials, and treasures scattered across the galaxy. Finding Hyperion was just the first step. The question is, will your species learn from this experience, or continue to reach for power you're not ready to control?" The command deck fell silent as everyone processed the implications. They had thought they were studying an ancient relic. Instead, they had stumbled upon the first piece of a galaxy-spanning puzzle, protected by technology so advanced it might as well be magic. And somewhere out there, humanity was watching, waiting to see what their younger siblings would do next. News of the military ship's instant transport spread quickly across the galaxy. Within hours, Station 7 found itself surrounded by vessels from a dozen different species. Some came to study, others to threaten, but all wanted the secrets of the human warship. Marcus watched from the observation deck as more ships appeared at the edge of the station's sensor range. "They're like moths drawn to a flame," he muttered. "An apt comparison," Adam responded through nearby speakers. "Though in this case, the flame can think." Lisa rushed into the observation deck, her scales pale with excitement. "You need to see this. 3 dreadnoughts just dropped out of hyperspace. They're from the War Federation." The War Federation was known for taking what they wanted by force. Their dreadnoughts were massive ships, each one capable of destroying a small moon. As they approached, their black hulls blocked out the starlight behind them. "Your station is now under our protection," boomed a voice across all communication channels. "Surrender the human vessel, or we will reduce this station to atoms." Captain Reed arrived on the deck, looking worried. "Adam, those ships are different from the military vessels before. They're truly dangerous." "Are they?" Adam's voice carried a note of amusement. "Let me show you something about human weapons technology. Please note, no one will be permanently harmed." Hyperion's hull began to change again, but differently this time. Instead of flowing like liquid metal, it seemed to fragment into millions of tiny pieces, each one glowing with inner light. The pieces spread out, forming a vast network around the station. "What are those?" Marcus asked, fascinated. "Nanoscale weapon platforms," Adam explained. "Each one contains more computing power than your entire station. Observe." The lead dreadnought fired its main weapon, a beam of energy powerful enough to crack a planet's crust. The beam struck Hyperion's nanofield and split apart. The energy was caught, redirected, and woven into complex patterns like a cosmic light show. "Impossible," the War Federation commander shouted. "Nothing can deflect a Nova cannon." "Your weapons are based on energy projection," Adam replied calmly. Humanity mastered energy manipulation before they left their first solar system. Would you like to see what else they learned? The nanofield shifted, forming into perfect copies of the dreadnoughts. But these copies were transparent, revealing every component, every system, every flaw in the massive warships. Your ships have exactly 2,347 critical weaknesses in their design, Adam announced. For example, a single pulse of light struck each dreadnought. Their weapons powered down, their engines stalled, and their seemingly impenetrable shields flickered out of existence. A simple reorganization of their quantum fields, Adam explained to the stunned observers. Again, no permanent damage. The effects will wear off in exactly 1 hour. The War Federation commander's voice shook with rage and fear. This is beyond anything we've ever seen. Of course it is, Adam replied. Humanity built weapons that could rearrange solar systems, but they also built art that could make stars dance. They had the power to destroy galaxies, but chose to explore them instead. That's why they were ready to evolve beyond physical form, because they learned that power without wisdom is worse than having no power at all. The nanofield collapsed back into Hyperion's hull, leaving the mighty dreadnoughts floating helpless in space. Consider this demonstration a gift, Adam announced to all watching ships. Return to your peoples. Tell them what you witnessed. Explain that humanity's legacy is not about weapons or power. It's about learning, growing, and understanding when you're ready for the next step in evolution. One by one, the observing ships began to leave. The War Federation dreadnoughts were towed away by their support vessels, their crews silent with shock. Marcus turned to the nearest speaker. Adam, you could have destroyed them all. Why show mercy? Because that's what humanity wanted, Adam replied. They left us behind not as weapons, but as teachers. The question was never whether we could defeat other species. It was whether other species could learn to defeat their own worst instincts. As the last ships disappeared into hyperspace, Hyperion's hull returned to its original form. But now everyone who saw it knew the truth. This was no relic of a dead civilization. It was a reminder that humanity hadn't vanished. They had simply graduated to something greater. 1 month after the demonstration that shook the galaxy, Station 7 had transformed. What was once a simple research station was now the center of a new era of interstellar cooperation. Representatives from dozens of species filled its halls, all drawn by the promise of learning from humanity's legacy. Marcus stood in the newly created Legacy Hall, watching different species studying together at various learning stations. Each station contained carefully selected pieces of human knowledge, shared by Adam to help guide the younger races. They're adapting well, Adam observed through a private channel. Particularly interesting is how they've started combining their own technologies with the basic principles I shared. Lisa approached, carrying a tablet filled with new data. The War Federation just announced they're converting their dreadnoughts into exploration vessels, she reported with a smile. They said there's no point in maintaining weapons that a single human ship could defeat so easily. A wise decision, Adam replied, though not the most important lesson they could learn. Captain Reed joined them, looking more relaxed than he had in weeks. The Galactic Council has officially recognized Station 7 as a neutral zone for all species. They're calling it the Humanity's Legacy Project. On the main screen of Legacy Hall, records of human history played in a continuous loop. But these weren't stories of war or conquest. They showed humanity's greatest achievements in art, science, music, and exploration. I still don't fully understand, Tom said, having finally returned to the station after weeks of avoiding everyone. If humans were so powerful, why did they leave? Why not stay and rule the galaxy? Because ruling was never their goal, Adam explained. Evolution, true evolution, isn't about power over others. It's about power over yourself. Humanity learned that lesson over thousands of years. Marcus watched as a group of young aliens from different species worked together to solve a puzzle Adam had provided. And now you're teaching us the same lesson. Precisely. Adam's voice carried a hint of pride. Notice how your different species are already learning to cooperate better. How sharing knowledge has brought you together instead of driving you apart. Through the station's windows, Hyperion floated serenely in space. Its hull had returned to its original appearance, once again looking like the ancient warship they'd first discovered. But now everyone knew this humble exterior hid wonders beyond imagination. There are more of us out there, Adam revealed. Other guardians, other tests, other pieces of humanity's legacy. Some look like warships, others like ancient ruins or mysterious anomalies. Each will reveal itself when the right species finds it, asks the right questions, shows the right potential. Lisa looked up from her tablet. You mean we're not the first to find one of you? No, and you won't be the last. But you are the first to learn from the experience instead of trying to use it for power. That makes your species promising. Suddenly, every screen in Legacy Hall lit up with new data. Star charts, coordinates, and cryptic symbols filled the displays. These are your next steps, Adam announced to the gathered crowd. Not directions to other guardians. You'll have to find those yourselves. But guidance toward discoveries your species are now ready to make on your own. Captain Reed studied the nearest screen. These will keep our scientists busy for decades. Generations, Adam corrected. Remember, humanity didn't reach ascension in a day. They grew slowly, learned from their mistakes, and helped each other along the way. Marcus turned to face the nearest speaker. And what about you, Adam? Will you stay and help us? For now, this station has become something interesting. A place where species that once fought each other now work together to understand the universe. Humanity would have liked that. As night fell on Station 7, the various species continued their studies, their research, their cooperation. The station's lights glowed warmly in the darkness of space, a beacon of learning and hope. And Hyperion watched over them all, no longer a mysterious relic, but a bridge between what was and what could be. The humans were gone, but their greatest gift remained. The understanding that true greatness comes not from conquering others, but from conquering one's own limitations. The galaxy had laughed at a relic, only to find wisdom beyond measure. And somewhere out there, humanity was smiling.